Good evening, everybody. Many of you may already know Akshay, but some of you may not. And so what I'm going to start with, Akshay, is why don't you give a quick snapshot of where you are with RP Salary today? And that will be a good backdrop for the remaining of the session. Can I ask you to do that?
Thank
Yes.
you. Hi, my name is Akshay. I started early salary with Ashish 3.5 years back. Just give you a quick numbers, etc. that we're doing. So today we do close to 70,000 loans a month. We do almost 150 crores of disbursements at a run rate level. If you look at our ability to process loans is fairly large. We're almost today trending at close to 10 million downloads. We have decisioned more than 2 million people. We have given 7.5 lakh loans. We have given loans worth 1,350 crores already. Just as an indication, I think January 18, we had crossed 60 crores of total disbursement and some 30,000 loans. So there is a hyper growth stage that we grow. We're trying to grow at almost 25% monthly. That's the growth rate we chase. Now, why we have built this high-speed business, I think most of us wonder where did the money come from, what's our stake, etc. So we were very successful raising. We raised most of our money in the first 18 months of the company, which was seed, series A and B. Till now, we have raised close to $23 million as equity. We have raised close to $30 million as debt, right, to run this business. When we had $1 million balance sheet, we raised $16 million from Fidelity 8 Roads, which set the benchmark for building a high-speed company. I think today there are 3-4 components which come into picture, which are very important in our ecosystem. One is hyper-automation. We have a 200-member team which has 70,000 loans. There are only 4 people underwriting, right? The rest of the people deliver futuristic work, or you have some point of concept to collect the money back. But it's really about building a company which focuses on hyper-automation in a category where disruption is very difficult. Remember, the disruption that we are doing is not like fundamental retail where you're competing with mom and pop stores. Here you're competing with banks, right? In banking, banks have unlimited capital, and if they want to do something like ours, it's like a side project, they can build it out. So when you're innovating in that category, you have to really think about cutting edge work to build it out. So I think there are 3-4 parts which are very critical, is how large and how fast can you build it. We have done 1,350 crores, we're doing 150 crores a month. We believe by end of this year, we should be able to disburse close to 2,000 crores more between March and April and March, that number. The second part we are saying is can we in 18 months time build a balance sheet of more than 1,000 crores which gives stability in the business. Of course, profitability, the first part, we want to break even the next 120 days. So we're really trending on that part. And the third principle is really about can we not add people? My hope is we can go from, let's say, a balance sheet of 250 to a balance sheet of 1,000 crores by not adding more than 30 more people in the company. That's the amount of automation we think about. Do remember, we clock more loans than I think the 5th largest bank in the country already. Right? So we're not too far away. We actually built up an interesting business. Right? That's the first part. As an insight, I've never done lending in my life. Ashish has never done lending in my life, right? So we are first-time entrepreneurs, never did a business, and able to build one of the country's largest fintech platforms ourselves in Pune.
Added to that is the fact that out of this 2.7 lakh customers that you mentioned, 90% of them repeat, and they repeat 10 times. That is the first impressive thing. And the second one is they have achieved this with 1/3 of the burn rate of any of your the closest competitor.
So I'll just give an indication, 18 months we grew by 27 times. We went from a $1 million balance sheet to now $40 million balance sheet. We have earned $1 million, that's it. That's the growth that we have actually achieved by burning $1 million. Right? Yes, we raised 23 million till date. I'll ignore the first 18 months because there was no business that large. Last 18 months we raised 20 odd million, at least 18 odd million. We actually are sitting pretty with 17 of them. It gives a great comfort. I have enough capital, I have no stress to raise money anymore. I'm focusing on really growing well and attaining profitability.
So I think all of us can agree he's not the Seedha Sadha Akshay that you hear in Bollywood. Funky which is with all the best of the meanings of the word. Round of applause for what he has achieved. But let's start when you were actually a Siddha Sada guy. I hear that you were born in Pune, and Pune, as we know, all Siddha Sada guys, right? So, why don't you tell us about your childhood?
So I was born into a armed forces background. My father was in the Air Force. I studied in 18 schools and lived in 54 houses before I entered college. So I've seen across from Kerala to Punjab. I think every single state in between I've stayed there, lived in multiple houses, etc. I think, but that really added to two great elements. One is ability to make friends anywhere, settle into any new business. It also gave me the ability to keep, if I needed to shift cities to do something better, I had complete flexibility. And that was great in early career life. I think that's what added on. So I did my MBA from Pune Symbiosis, got an internship starting off with Bajaj Allianz. So it was Allianz that time becoming Bajaj Allianz. Interestingly, I did 10 different roles in 2 years to decide what I want to do. By the time I was 26, I became the marketing of the company. By 27, I was marketing.
I was going to come to that, Akshay, but what I notice here is in your education, in your childhood, there doesn't seem to be, or at least you've not mentioned anything that was particularly entrepreneurial. That
Oh, none.
Exactly.
Most of my family is either army or government service, etc.
Yeah. Was there anything at all that you remember that stood you out with your friend that you did that time? Anything that was remotely entrepreneurial as a child?
No, I always felt that you have to do something on your own which makes you stand out. From trying to sell your toys when you were young so that you can buy the next toy, always did that. The good part is that if you're shifting cities every year or 2 years, you don't care, you can palm off the old things before you leave. Right? And you learn how to be smart with money a little bit that time. I think, but what really helped out in that multiple schools, multiple people, language skills, etc., is ability to strike conversation which really makes a difference to me. I think my personality, I'm extremely soft spoken, but I have a large number of people who will listen to me in the way I'm able to converse. That actually came across, and I can do that for people across the country. There is no biasness of any language barrier coming in. That was the learning which I picked up.
So being a Holy family helps.
Yes.
Okay. One thing that I did find somewhat different than what most people do. You talked about MBA, but you also did MA in economics.
Yes. So there are, I think, two things. One, of course, when you do an MBA in India without an engineering degree, you're not having 16 years. Right? So the trick is to do another degree which completes it. Right? So of course you did that from that perspective. And Pune is quite easy. You can walk up and give the MA exam, and year 1 and year 2 together. You don't have to worry about waiting the 2 years to finish. So that's the good part. But I realized one part, that in this education, you are always undereducated always. So I did go to ISB and I did go to INSEAD after that, right, to make sure that my skills are upgraded. In the professional space, when you are doing jobs, right, you need to be well educated, well connected. Education is really about that. Right? So I think I have one of the best friends in marketing which came from INSEAD in Singapore. One of the best ways of negotiations I learned in ISB. And of course, the corporates pay for these. Right? If you're doing well, the corporate will pay anything for education, right? And you should harness that. Right? I think it's stupidity to exit a corporate and not being better educated. L&D is a great function, use it to your advantage.
Yes. Absolutely, I think everyone here will agree with that. That education is an ongoing thing. It doesn't ever stop. Certainly not at college level. So all of us learn most of the things in our jobs and so on. You were talking about this Allianz thing, and I think that really seemed like a big break that you got this summer internship at Allianz. That really made you stand out, and that seems to have held you in extremely good stead in your entire career, at least at Bajaj Allianz.
So I think, yeah, so I'll highlight one part. I was actually very fortunate that even in my summers, first I met my best friend who's today my co-founder, and he was my first boss. When I was a summer trainee, he was a management trainee, and that's how we know each other so well. Right? The other part which happened in Allianz, which is very interesting, it was the opportunity to choose anything that you want to do. Right? I did sales, I did marketing, I did underwriting, I did ops, I actually started off in the finance function, right? So I did so many things to realize this is not my cup of tea, I don't like it, I don't enjoy it, and you kept feeling it there. Right? So until you said, oh, this is what I really enjoyed. And what I really enjoyed was Allianz in India at that time had a gentleman from Coke to head their marketing. So I said, what kind of insurance company has an FMCG Coke guy for doing marketing? But the good part to me was that he gave me the fastest crash course in understanding how to do sales and marketing much better. Right. So by the time he exited in the fourth year when he was leaving, I was able to get his job.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So I got the fastest crash course which would have taken 20 years in any other company. Right? To the level that after 4 more years, the company was getting bored to say, is the CEO going to leave his job or I can't keep waiting? Right? 4 years में यहाँ पहुँच गए, 4 years वो काम कर लिया, ऊपर तो anything बचा नहीं है, तो what to do? Right? But I think that's what entering a company at the right stage, which is growing. So when I joined the company, it was 67 crore company. When I exited the company, it was 8,000 crores. We saw that in 8 years growth. Right? So in a hyper growing company, you can grow. You have to, and if you're timing it well, if you're entering that company, you should play on. I think when there were 27 MTs who joined with me, only 2 of us survived. It was a survival game. By the 4th year, 2 were left. Everyone else had quit because simple part, the 2 MTs which were there were growing every 6 months on a designation level and they were not. Right? So you of course feel the pressure. The other part was the guys who actually did that. Actually, one of them is CEO of another company and one is here. So if you're there, you're doing well, you grow. You don't take. I think getting that right selection of employment helps. Right? And you have to be lucky enough. If you're not, you should be willing to look out also.
The company, also the industry that you're in, finding the right job which suits your aptitude.
So interestingly, I was actually doing my internship that time at TiE. I was looking after the launch product was Fast Track, which today as a brand didn't exist. Like it was jewelry actually. If you look at it, looked like the best place to get a job. But actually, in the middle of the internship, I said I have a job, I'm leaving. When I got my PPO, I said I'm leaving. I said Allianz looks like a better opportunity. The reason was simple. I wanted to work with the particular gentleman who was heading marketing there. I said, this is the place I can learn fastest. It paid off for me.
As astonishing as this is, that becoming a CMO in for 4 years, what were you?
26.
26. When you at the age of 26. Actually, the most interesting thing that happened at Bajaj Allianz was not this, right? Something else that happened.
Okay. So the most surprising thing was one day I gave a wedding card, and my wife also gave the wedding card in the same office. One of the CEO said, I can't come to your wedding because I'm going to Mona's wedding. I said, card to her. He actually gave the same card and people didn't know about it. So we met in the same office, were dating for 3 years but no one knew. And of course we got married, maybe 10 years of being married.
So apart from all the career growth that he achieved, the major development was actually he got his fix. Yes, he met his wife there, and nobody knew about it. So that was well played, I must say. I mean, he's the CEO of the company, 4 years, and he's dating his future wife, and nobody knew about it. So except I guess the CEO knew it. Yes. That would have been bad. So great, and then I think you left Bajaj, but then joined other. So your entire corporate career has been one big success story. And you talked about Bajaj Allianz. Why don't you also tell us about the next steps that you have taken?
When Bajaj was really, I think in 2008-9, Bajaj was the most successful insurance company. It's not the best today, at least in ranking, but that time it was number 2 after LIC, so it became really big. I decided to take a plunge and join a startup which was having 8 employees. It was Policybazaar. I met Yashish one day, he moved back from London and was trying to set up a listing website for insurance companies. Right? Then I said, then we figured out an aggregator. Then I think he came to Pune to meet me, can you list the product? Right? That day I just flown in back from Singapore, I was too tired. I said, yeah, तो आया बट मैं थक गया हूँ घर पे चलते we have a cup of coffee turned into a beer and by the time we left I had quit my job. I said I'm coming with you to Gurgaon and participating in this company. To our success, Info was the first partner who invested, Intel was the next one, Tiger was the next one, and within 8 months the company was the highest invested fintech ever in India. It's it is a unicorn trade in great numbers. But it was actually, if you look at that time, it was an 8-member team with a call center of the bank. Right? Today, the call center is 15,000 employees. The team is still small, but it actually is much larger than most insurance companies. and I came in to build the digital acquiring practice and of course build marketing for them. But after 2 years, I realized my role was actually over. Interestingly, I said, "अब मैं क्या करूँगा यहाँ पे?" I built the marketing practice. It's the brand is built. People know it. Policy bazaar, paisa bazaar. There's nothing more to do. And I was in that mindset, what to do. I was still training 30. And one day on a flight, I met someone who introduced me to the show there. Interestingly, I found the model extremely exciting. That a physical retailer talks about high-speed growth, understand the consumer, applying FMCG in retail and building a company. And that's then I met Akshay, the CEO. Same flight. Next day, someone introduced me again in Bombay. And I said, this looks like a very exciting company. It is a Indian business which spends 600 crores in marketing. Right? Never heard of it. Could be the most exciting thing to do. And saying they want to go from 8,000 crores to 18,000 crores and going through a struggle and just sold off the cash cow at low. So it looked like a very, from an outside perspective, confusing business. But I loved the two people I met. I met Kishorji and I met Sadashiv and said, yeah, this I would like to. I asked them, would you ever hire a 30-year-old guy as a head of sales and marketing for the group? He said, you know, everyone in the company is 45, 50. I don't know how you survive, but I will make space. And I spent 3.5 years. I built a brand known as NPP. I turned around Big Bazaar, did multiple things there. But to my biggest fun was that in that company, it was on a Thursday evening at 6 o'clock to decide that you're going to do on the weekend 500 crores of business. Thursday evening, 6 o'clock. That means on a Saturday morning, every single newspaper in the country could announce a new sale, and Big Bazaar is going to stop traffic across the country and doing that sale. But we did that continuously, I think, for the 3.5 years I was there, and we actually, I don't think there was a single day in my life where I did not work 12 hours a day and ever felt I was working. Right? So I learned one part that you can actually work very hard when you're enjoying it. Right? And everyone around you have to equally feel they're enjoying it. Right? The promoter never made you feel he's the promoter. None of the people in the company ever felt they're actually working hard, but they were there. Right? No one ever said, I'll give an example. Saturday morning, you'll get a call saying, "Niche aayega kya? We'll go and see a store." I would say it's 6:30. I don't even wake up at that time. I'll wait for 15 minutes. And who's waiting? The promoter is waiting. Right? But that culture is amazing to actually build out, and that's how you see that why some companies have been successful, why they're iconic, right? Why the best-in-class talent still wants to work with them, right? And don't feel they work with them.
And you grew that from 8,000 crore to 16,000 crores in 3 years. Amazing. Akshay, I got to ask you this. I mean, we will talk about your entrepreneurial journey, but how you have planned your career before that is quite remarkable, and that, to my mind, is a lesson for people who have been fed these, glamour stories about college dropouts starting startups and so on. The experience that you gained in this journey was extremely valuable for future. How do you plan your career, or did it just happen like that, or did you plan it? What made it so successful, or were there any mistakes that you made? Can you tell us about that?
I did a lot of mistakes. So I think at Future Group I have failed on 50% of my campaigns. I only looked at two things, and what should I learn personally should be fast. I was only a spock in the wheel of doing one part of it. The company grew, I participated in the growth. I had to learn some things to me which were extremely important. The first part is you can't lose money while doing business. Good, right? You learned it by burning someone else's money. Great, don't do yours. Right? In a startup culture, I learned how frugality has to be visually maintained and actually maintained. Right? So in the beginning, was extremely frugal. A company which raises money from Tiger is supposed to spend a lot of its money, but never spent it. Is a great place to be. Right? In Allianz, Bajaj Allianz learned a very good part that you have to be paranoid about customer getting the best benefit. Right? And these are the see, you have to learn these on someone else's expense. It really helps. Right? The other part is you can crack a brilliant idea at 21, but are you mature enough to execute at 21? It takes time. Right? Sometimes our corporate careers are not that brilliant, and that's why we step out to say, "I'm kuch apna kar le." Right? But will that really satisfy us? For example, the day I decided to quit my job in Big Bazaar, I think I was one of the most successful marketing people in the country. I was still like 32, 33. Or 34, deciding to quit the best in class job that day was not because I want to solve some puny problem and I think it's a problem. The decision was, can I build something which is going to be sustainable? Right? Can it actually become a proper company one day? Right? And is my time well spent in doing that? I think, yeah, it can come to you at 21, it can come to you at 25, it can come to you at 30, 35, 50 also. At 21, your liabilities are 15,000 rupees a month. At 35, your liabilities are 2 lakh rupees a month. Never forget that. Right? So if you're not saved for 5 years, 2 lakh rupees a month, don't start a startup because things are going to be money.
I really love that we are sitting on a TiE platform and he's telling you not to start a startup. So that's really good advice from the basis of what he's talking about. The success that you get in your corporate actually does two things. One is the experience that you got, but the second is also the credibility that you're building for your future investors and so on and so forth. Right? That's so valuable as compared to a 19-year-old or a 21-year-old. That is so much more valuable. Now, can we talk about how the big idea came, for example? Because to me it seems like if that big idea was not there, you would have happily continued with your corporate. That's a big lesson for most of the entrepreneurs who would want to do anything and everything just to be an entrepreneur. So, which is the big lesson from his Akshay's my story, that he would not have done that. He was contributing the best with all of his abilities in something like a future consultant because he got this new idea. So now I must ask you, where you got this idea and how did it happen?
I always joke I was judging seminar with Cinder when the idea came. It happened on the same evening where I was supposed to go I landed after doing that event to a different city. I was traveling with a bunch of young junior colleagues and I said it's month end. They said we can't party on month end, paise nahi hote. So I heard them out. I actually thought that it actually is difficult when you want 40,000 rupees a month and 25th to 30th is extremely tough. Right? But we forget, at an income band you forget the credit card is auto pay, you don't think about interest on it. But at a different income you think about those things. Right? So actually I wrote down the idea on a piece of paper that night, did not sleep. I did not do my work next day, flew to Pune to meet Ashish, and that one page piece of paper became a 3-slide presentation. Next day in the morning, met a friend who helped us put it into a mobile app. Look, it was ugly yellow in color, but we still made an app over a weekend. Over Sunday, I met the first investor who agreed to give us $1.5 million for some reason. Right. So before we knew we actually had raised money, we were still in our jobs. I don't think that time the investor understood what we were going to do. We didn't know it that well. But we knew one part, that we were actually going to quit our jobs, right? Forgo a lot of bonus and previous pedigree, work for no money for the next few years, and try to build a new company. Right? The idea got evolved better. It wasn't giving money to partying at night. Right? That was the end use, which today is maybe the largest use case still. But the idea had to be solved by actually thinking how will you run it like a financial institution, how will you get the right licenses, how do you build technology, how do you hire the best in class talent. Right? So the learning from the corporate part was really building the best in class talent. So for example, actually quitting job, to moving to Pune, to getting a license, to building a tech platform, to building a team, it took us 92 days to launch a product. Most people take a year to do an MVP. We gave our first loan in 92 days, period. Right? So the experience of corporate taught us one thing: when you want to execute, you execute to perfection. Right? You execute to a plan, you write down your plan, and your plan has to be executed to perfection. It's not theory. Right? And we were clear the day 4th of October, I landed in Pune. By 5th, we had our first place office ready. We paid money to our lease partner to build our office to our specification. We hired, on day 1 we were 9 people, on day 30 we were 42 people, on the launch day we were 50, 42 are still there with us. So people that we hired were hired with a perspective to build a company, not to solve problem that day.
You made it sound very easy that you met this investor on a weekend and by the end of the day you had got a 1.5 million check. Couldn't have been that easy, right? I mean,
No, it was not tough, but Series A was a nightmare.
No, but even this investor, how did you find the investor? What was the discussion? Yeah. So how long was that meeting? There must be.
So
meeting
1.5
million just like that.
So meeting actually came because of previous pedigree, I would say. Right? So I'll give an example. The gentleman who introduced us was Hemant Kaul. He was the CEO of Bajaj Allianz earlier, and Hemant knew Ashok Agarwal quite well. So he was Ashok Agarwal was his first client when he was an Axis Bank. So they knew each other for like 50 years. He introduced me and said, "This is the kid I used to like in Bajaj. He's trying to start something. Why don't you meet him?" But the meeting started at 7:30 in the morning. Right? I had to fly from Bombay to Jaipur at a 5 o'clock in the morning flight. It ended at 7:30 in the evening. It was a non-stop meeting. Right? They agreed that day. After 3 days, they came with a full team to Bombay to meet who are you actually going to have as your first 10 people. Show us, let them be in a room, we'll discuss the full day, then the money moved. Right? But it wasn't easy. It looks very easy when you're saying it, but it was the work that we did in that 10-day window was amazing. It meant I would have personally interviewed 500 people, customers who we thought our customers, and recorded them. Sitting in friends, companies who are IT companies, etc., to understand whether the customer accepts this product. In that 10 days, we actually built a working mobile app so we can demonstrate it can be built. Right? In those 10 days, we identified people who will come and work and run that, which included a tech architect, which included a head of risk, which included a collections head. So we had to really put together, lending karna hai. Right? And we said this day we will be in Pune to set it up. We were there on that day. We had a team, and we had an exact date. Told the investor, "Is this launch hoga?" So that was done in those 10 days. So the mehnat was not less.
Yeah, and the investor.
And we were still working. Luckily, it was the 15th August weekend, so we had time. It was a 5-day holiday window, so we could do a lot more. Right? But that's not easy.
And the investor, Mr. Ashok Agarwal, Dr. Ashok Agarwal, very interesting profile. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
So he's a trustee of John Hopkins. The family owns 4 businesses: Transport Corporation of India, Gati, Barufa Park, and TCL, right, Transcorp. He himself runs Transcorp, which is the Western Union money transfer business. So, doctor who runs a money transfer business, right? Amazing personality, great family. To my surprise, when we did our Series B, he actually came and reinvested to maintain his position, right? Which is rare. A seed or an individual investor having ability to come and say, "I will reinvest for 5 more years in a company and come along in growth capital," means that not only the faith in the company, but also say the ability to hold on to money for a long return. We are his only investment ever. He's not a serial startup investor, but I think we found him at the right time, and he's committed to put a lot of money into us.
And he gave at the end of it a gold coin to you.
Yes. So, of course, a classical Indian businessman will still close a deal not by signing an agreement, but giving a token. So he actually gave a gold coin.
And he gave you one more important thing: the NBFC.
Yes. He also gave us a license, which allowed us to go to market faster.
Because for his business, NBFC license was required, right? Without it, it would not have happened.
Absolutely.
And the investor came with an NBFC license. So that's an amazing story, I think.
And the selection of the investor was also that. In that, who to meet, we always said we need a person who can help us with the regulatory part also. Because otherwise, we wait for 6 months to apply and take a license. And 6 months in a startup is cost. Right? Salary bills mount up faster. And you can't say, when I have the license, then I'll set up the company. It's too futuristic. So you have to be ready to come in faster.
Amazing. So some may think that this was just a lucky break and so on. But what I look at this is this way. Here is a guy who became a CMO of Bajaj Allianz 26. Ashish, sorry, you were a CMO of Bajaj Allianz.
Ashish at 27 was a CIO.
Ashish was the CIO of Bajaj Allianz at 27. I mean, such accomplished guys were coming to this investor and telling him that we will leave our jobs and do this business, and this is our idea. So idea has to be great, people have to be great, their preparation has to be great. All of that made this thing happen. It was not, I don't think it was a lucky break at all, because anybody else in your position would not have made it. The idea was weaker, it would not have happened, and so on and so forth. So I think this again points to the importance of the experience that you have gathered, the perfection that you wanted to show in all the activities that you wanted to do. All of that made this happen, I think. So that's a remarkable lesson for many youngsters who may want to just quit job and do some puny idea, like you said. But what really matters is what kind of success.
I don't use the word puny, but it's an idea that you personally want to spend 10 years doing. Right? Sometimes we think it's a great short-term idea. You say, oh, I like the idea, but I think it's a problem to get solved. But do you see that solving that problem for 10 more years? Right? Because you have to always prepare for a winter. It's not going to be an easy fundraise and you keep raising money and the business will become profitable. Right? There's a difference in saying I want to become an entrepreneur and build an SME or a classical grassroots business, and actually saying I want to start a startup. Startups are really about building the energy so that you can build something far larger in scale.
Right. And like you said earlier, it's lending. It's not a new idea, new business at all. So within that also you can get such a big startup idea. Is really the lesson from this Akshay story. You were talking about it earlier a little bit, so let me touch upon that. Your hallmark has been speed, breakneck speed. I mean, I just want to understand. Like you said, within 3 months of moving to Pune, you had started operations, and that was as per plan. You had said earlier to the investor that you would do that and all. What does it take to achieve this kind of speed?
I think the first is having the right people. Right? I think we were very focused on two things. We don't want friends and family to work with us and people that we know who will work with us because they want to work with us. Right? We want people who are extremely good in what they do. They come with a clear plan and they want to execute to that plan. And that I think was the biggest difference. I know of enough startups where there are 5 people starting, 4 of them have no role because they don't understand what they're doing. Right? See, in our case, we don't understand lending. Right? We understood some parts of things that we did. For example, in Future Group, I helped launch the largest credit card program in the country. So I knew how credit card sales happen and how customer acceptance can be built. Ashish knew portfolio risk. So when you build a portfolio, उसपे risk आएगा, how to monetize that risk and raise debt against it. We knew only that much. We knew 2 parts of a large puzzle. We had to have people who knew underwriting risk, who understood how to build operation at scale, right? Who understood how will you recover from 1 lakh people every month, right? We did not actually give a single loan until each of these people joined. Right? So they were there on day 1 when the company started. In the first, let's say, co-working space that we took up, because our office was not ready, all of these 10 people were in that room working together already. The identification of this team to build the plan to perfection was one part. And the second part was saying no to everything that we do. We execute less things. Okay. Right. For example, after the scale, running this business for 3 years, there are only 3 things to focus as on today in the company. Bus. The company has 3 growth drivers currently being executed. If your KI is not aligned to these 3 things, you have no job in the company. It's impossible to imagine how to say no to 1,000 new ideas to do. And that's the focus you have to have if you want to achieve success.
So one answer I can clearly say is focus is what gives speed.
Yes.
If your attention is diverted in doing 50 different things, you cannot achieve speed in doing the one thing that you want to do. Akshay, you mentioned you were first-time entrepreneur. Ashish was first-time entrepreneur. It's hard to imagine that there were no teething troubles, there were no setbacks, in this early part of your entrepreneurship.
Oh, there was lots. I'll give you an example. I did 138 venture pitches in Series A. Right? I'm sure you don't even know 138 venture fund names in India. Right? I at least did 20 IC meeting, and IC meeting is like the holy grail when it comes to funding. It means कि बस अब तो last round है, जब पूरा वेंचर फंड का पूरा टीम बैठता है और आपको पूरा दिन मिलता है आपको क्या ज्ञान बेचना है, right? And then we got 137 no's, right? And most of the no's was it's too early for this business. I think the country is ready for it. I don't think you're the right guys. I had a venture fund who said yes in the evening at 8 o'clock and morning 9 o'clock saying no. Right? Two of them had said that. And we have actually had a venture fund who actually closed the deal at 7:30 in the morning. We met him at 7:30, he actually said yes. Right? We raised Series B inbound, means we did not go out, someone walked up and said, you have to infuse this money, I think I'm betting on you. And you're like, अभी तो raise किया था, अभी तो मतलब diligence complete नहीं हुई है. We not seen the sight of money, we seen the term sheet. Like the pain of 138, the 139 guys take the money and not bothered. Right? But it also taught us to think how to sustain when there is no money. That 1.5 million lasted us 16 months. That's a lot of money. Had to be sustained. There was a time we had no money, so we sold off our book to another NBFC so that we could pay salaries. Right? Salary bill was high, income was there, we were not burning. We were still burning, let's say 20 lakh rupees a month. But we had deployed money to give into customers. Equity se hum fund kar rahe the customer ke loan because debt nahi milta hai. Right? We had to sell off our book, take out the money and then do the business. Right? But that's also a part. And that 16 months taught us two things कि जब अगला पैसा आएगा फंसना नहीं. तो सीरीज बी का पूरा पैसा रखा है, सीरीज ए का भी आधा पैसा रखा है. That's an amazing patience. Money line has to be preserved. Right? You have growth capital, you can burn it. You're not supposed to. Right? Yet to have breakneck growth speed. The speed of growth has never come down, but we have been cautious how to conserve money.
You did have one episode of a founder we bought out and all that, and these are the kind of troubles that early entrepreneurs do face. Maybe some lessons out of that.
So you should learn to cut your losses faster.
Mistakes will happen.
Mistakes are bound to happen. Don't linger on to them. I think when we realized Chair was having issues to settle in, I think we took a decision straight. Let's exit. We don't want to have the pain later on to figure out कि तेरे लिए रोल नहीं है क्या करना है. Right? And you have to take that. You have to be focused to make sure that of course the exit has to be painless. Right? In this case, me and Akshay had to personally buy it. Remember, we had no money, we were not business oriented. Whatever we had, we already put in the money and further we had to put in more. Right? At startups, you can't even take salaries, you can take some extreme low amount. So, how do you buy out a person at a Series A level? Extremely tough. But you have to take that steps so that it doesn't affect incoming investor feeling. Right? Also, our focus on what you're doing is correct. It actually paid up quite well. Not only we were transition out, that created the extra pool of equity available, so we could add a next level talent which was far better. Like we could actually go acquire one company from the same pool of equity sale. We were able to hire maybe the best financial tech person in the country, the guy who headed Finacle Financials. Right? So things like those could be executed when you take a right decision.
That brings me to the question about the roles in your team. I mean, all of this breakneck speed, this execution, all that cannot happen, with right people in the right roles. And clearly, yours and Ashish's roles must have changed over this period of time. You mentioned about acquisition, that must have brought in some talent. So how is your team structured? How are the roles organized, and so on? Can you talk about that?
So I think we structure all very different. We call the acceleration and the break. Right? My job is to accelerate because I cause sales and marketing effort. Ashish's job is to break because it's a risk business. Right? So if you look at, there have to be multiple people looking at risk. Right? So the first part of risk is your portfolio not good in quality with Ashish itself. It's a fundamentally classical consumer risk. So someone who understands consumer risk, best in class has to read it. Vimal, who reads that part, used to head risk and the BIU for the Axis Bank. It's the second largest bank in the country. The entire risk is to report to him, so really good talent. We also need someone who can put the machine learning part in risk. So Bala came in, he moved in from London to lead our machine learning practice. Right. Suddenly you have on the risk vertical that three very seasoned, almost everyone has almost 20 years of experience today, really building the best in class work. Right. On the other side, it also needs hyper technology development. Right. So now how do you, I think, well, Divya asked me, is Pune great for startups and to hire people in 2018 in 2016 if you want to hire tech talent, it was impossible. Right. The mindset of startup in Pune was just not there. So if you look at the first 5 people were not from Pune. Neither the CTO, neither the chief architect, neither the mobile developer, all came from outside. Right. No matter. But now I think we're a destination for best in class to attract talent. Right. So these people made sure we position ourselves as the best tech. Right. Of course, it's difficult to build deep tech today. Right. Deep tech is actually sitting in most parts of Bangalore. But can you actually become the destination to work? Right. And then you'll start seeing talent come. So when you hire the senior team who themselves will cause people to come and the impact will come. So I'll give an example of the acquisition we did. We acquired the company for the founder. We saw the business and said we should not do it. In fact, we shut it down the day we acquired it. Right? We took the founder because of his mindset was so good and he understood fintech quite well, to come and say, why don't you lead our product strategy and you lead a new product or new team that we want to set up, our B2B vertical. Right. He's built that vertical from 1% to 18% in 8 months. From a simple perspective, founder's mindset to execute an extreme difficult problem. Remember, the company in the same time period has grown by 10 times. That means the vertical must have grown dramatically fast. From doing 100 loans, it's gone to doing 5,000 loans a month. That's what 18% means, right? In that speed. And then to put up a new team, you need a mindset of a founder. And we found that by putting the right talent.
I think talent is the answer to most of the questions that I'm having here, because you are in a tough business, actually speaking. I mean, I'm an outsider, you know it better, but clearly you have to scale up very fast, but cost have to be controlled and delinquency has to be controlled. And that is not an easy problem to solve. It looks like you've solved it with tech. What sets you apart from the other companies in this space? It's a hugely competitive space. Right? There are lots of other companies. You mentioned just now that there are 850 fintech companies in India. A lot of people doing exactly the same thing that you're doing. There are global companies coming in and so on and so forth. How do you manage this? What is the secret sauce here?
So I think one, of course, is doing less. We do only 3 things, right? I think most of our players are trying to do 20 things in their platform. Right? Second, I think to our success, one was we always said we want to be asset heavy. We want to give our money and not become a platform. So that made us extremely cost conscious. It also made sure we collect our money back. Right? I'll give you a good example. In classical lending, it is what is the write-off post the write-off phase. So 180 days is a classical write-off as per regulator. We have done 850 crores there. We have written off 7 crores till date there. Right. If I was a bank, I would be happy to write off 70. If I was a fintech, I would be happy to write off 35. And we have written down 7. Right. Which clearly indicated that we have focused at building a better risk practice. Right. So I think both parts have played it quite well. We haven't burned the money. We have built a good risk practice. At the same time, we have acquired similar customer base. Right? If let's say the top 3 fintechs, all of them have 2.5 lakh customers, we also have 2.5 lakh customers. Right? How much have they burned since inception of company? The top 10 started the same time period. It's a funny category. Either you started 3.5 years back or you started 8 months back, so everyone else shut down in between. Right? So the top 10 in that phase have a similar money raised between 15 to 40 million. Right? Apart from us, everyone has burned almost at least 10 million. We must have burned 2.5 million. So we have reached the same stage, sitting with more capital, in tackling equity and nearing profitability. Right? We can actually declare profit tomorrow morning by reducing growth by 2%. Because our marketing burn is 3 crores, our to net total burn in a month is 70 lakhs. Right? So we are so close. You can decide to growth come kar you become profitable, or grow by another 20% anywhere to profitability. Right? So that's the focus.
So there was another question I wanted to ask you about the team that you built. You mentioned 200 odd people, 210 people or something. Now, if you're growing at this breakneck speed, a lot of these pressures, competition, and so on and so forth, one would think that it would be a very high pressure kind of atmosphere within your company. But I did go to Glassdoor and found that the reviews are actually quite good from their employees. So what's happening there?
I think our office looks better than Starbucks.
Okay.
Of course, competes with WeWork's look. I think they overdo it. But I think two parts. One, the collaborative nature in the company by design, which is being caused. Right? Anyone can walk up to anything. We have seen people who joined in and telecallers have moved into testing. And we have seen people who came in before their MBA, going to US, coming back from the MBA and still working with us. I think two parts that we have been able to do. One, that there is a problem to get fixed and you will fix it yourself. Right? If you find the problem, for example, I'll give a good example, and this happens quite a lot. It's a tech platform, people will collapse. On Monday, 8 AM in the morning, we saw complaints on social media popping up that some people have not received their money and they requested for a part. Now, usually the guy who manages social media would have written a message on the WhatsApp group, "Hey, do too many complaints. Right? Can someone look into it with office hours?" But he did not do that. He actually called up the guy who was responsible for making sure the money transfers from the tech stack, woke him up, right? Called up and woke him and said, "Please put my office bill." The guy, we're talking about a chief architect and we're talking about a guy who will be like a marketing intern. And both of them reaching office at 9 o'clock, making sure before the call center opens at 9:30, the problem is solved. Otherwise, we will land with 4,000 phone calls and the call center will collapse that day. Because customers will start running the shouting. But that's the passion that you have to build, that everyone believes that I am going to solve it. It's not, I will identify it, I will solve it. And if you can get 200 people who believe they are entrepreneurs there to solve the problem, you have a great team you're building. See, today we are able to attract, let's say, Vikas, what are 15 years education. We have at least 10 IIT IIMs in our office. But they're there not because they want to solve some puny problem. They believe that they will themselves solve it. And that's why they enjoy working so hard. It's not like we are working late at night. We have a chilled life also. The machine looks after loans. We do not have anyone working in office post 8 o'clock. We'll do 30% of our volume post 8 o'clock. Right? So automation has to be built so systems are running. We'll play our cricket on Saturday. We'll do all of the fun things. But are we able to get people at the right role and they believe that they can do the work passionately if they want?
Okay. So now I'm beginning to see why you feel comfortable with even the strong competition, why your team, you will do well because tech that you've got, because the team that you've got and so on. But can you just give us a flavor of the competition that you're facing?
Interesting. So I think there are 5 types of competition today we're facing. One, we have the new age Chinese players who are entering in who don't care about they just want to give money. Because in China, they earn $1 billion profit. They have been regulatorily pressured there to reduce interest margin, which means they can go to any other country and burn $1 billion every year. It's unbelievable. So they're just giving money like to anyone they want. Then there are banks. Right? HDFC Bank wants to do a short-term loan. You're like, shit, how do I compete? His cost of borrowing is 4%. My cost of borrowing is 15%. Right? He's got 11% more money he can lose against what I can do. He's more efficient there. Right? Then of course there are lots of bright people who do fintechs. Right? Then there are lots of not bright people who want to do a fintech, which is the biggest problem. Because they will say, यार लोन ही तो देना है. इतना क्या मुश्किल होगा? एक ऐप बनाते हैं, लोन देते हैं. And then comes the other part, is where you have the players which are pressured in their core business to say, I have capital, I have lots of infrastructure built in and risk understanding. Can I also enter in that category? When you have the Bajaj, Edelweiss, etc., who have built large businesses, who also want to compete. Right? So you're pressured on all 5 places, right? And remember, the incumbent that you are talking about has 40,000 crores as a balance sheet lying with him. Right? You can never raise that much money. In fact, today's article in the ET is very interesting. The fintech category, can it ever become 35,000 crores? He's like, dude, that's less than the AUM of the 30th size bank in the country. What are you talking about? Are we really competing something? Right? But what are we really building? See, it's a niche. You need to become, the niche itself is large. If I am talking confidently, say I can build a $1 billion business in 5 years, that's the size of the niche that I can build. I will not be the number 1 player. There will be 50 players similar to that number because the category is growing at 25% per annum. Like the finance category is going that well. That means there's an opportunity. Can you find a niche? Can you stick to it and do a great job? That's what's important.
Fantastic. So it's great to know that with all of this pressure, you still have time to play cricket. On Saturdays, and I think you're telling me that last month you took a break of 2 weeks.
Yeah, first break in 4 years, but of course I did.
That's good to know. Family must be happy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us something about your family.
So I have a 6 years old daughter. She's learning a 4th language. She's year 3 ballet and year 3 Bharatanatyam.
Oh,
so kids today are much more brighter than what we were. My own aspiration is if I can teach her how to code. I need to go to code.org and learn how to code, how to teach a 6-year-old, but that's my next agenda. My wife is a food stylist, and of course, I think after doing her 15 years in finance and banking and other roles, she decided to, when she moved to Pune, she said, I like food, I want to do my own passion in the food industry. I think she runs the biggest food blog in the country today. And she is helping at least 30 other hotels and restaurants how to design food better.
Wow. So you get paid to eat.
You get paid to eat. I'm not putting on weight, that's a miracle.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. With all this pressure and all that, how do you maintain your fitness?
I run. That's the new golf, but you run.
Okay. Long distance?
Struggling at half a marathon, but make sure that I run 5 kilometers, or at least struggle at doing 5 a day.
Okay. So you're doing your exercises?
Yes.
Your wife is taking care of your food. The third factor is sleep.
I don't sleep. I sleep 4 hours a day.
Okay. So that's one piece of advice that I give you. That needs to change.
I don't know. I think it's why do you need to sleep so long? It's a big question. Do you really need that sleep? I don't think I am not aged well. Right? So if you can keep your body healthy and if you're focused and not doing too many things, sleep is not that important. You have to rest. Right? But most people like to sleep for 10 hours for some reason. If they see a weekend, they want to sleep the whole weekend. Weekends are to learn something. Weekends are to enjoy with your family, not to sleep.
So you're getting some insights about why this whole success story, right? So 4 hours sleep is part of that, which I don't personally agree with Akshay, but that's what it is.
I learned one trick very recently. You should not keep your phone next to your bed because at least in all my early career life, if someone sends me a mail at 2 o'clock at night, if my phone pings, at least in the BlackBerry time, the sound used to come. You reply it in 10 minutes. I've learned one thing: you should keep the phone in a different room and sleep now.
Okay. You mentioned about your travel. How hectic is the travel?
Fairly. I think in 3.5, let's say close to 1,000 days in Pune, I've traveled 700 at least.
Wow.
So I travel a lot.
Okay.
And across, I think meeting clients, meeting partners, doing all of that is a part of your life and you have to be in the field meeting people.
And you use every minute of your travel?
Oh, I do use. I think flights are the best places to make presentation, not to chit chat with people. Anyway, there's no food anymore and discount airlines, so don't worry about it. The other part is when at the airport, try to meet people who are your customers. Because it's very difficult at our stage to meet young people.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. For me, a customer is 26, 27 years old. Right? Where do I meet him? Right? And I try to interact with anyone I find on a flight, train, wherever I am. Right? And that's a great opportunity. And you'll be surprised that young people let you record. You can actually record their conversations, you can understand them, send it back to your product team, and this is what he's saying, try to improve something.
Excellent. Great. Coming to my last question now. I think we're good on time as well. What's next? What's next for the salary? And I should actually also ask you what's next for the industry. Because you seem to be doing very well in the industry. So how's the salary going to do and how's the industry going to do?
So let's talk about the industry first. I think the industry is going through it will be a hibernation phase next 6 to 8 months. There are two parts to it. There's an extreme liquidity crunch in the market. So which will mean the people who are either having equity cushions or having money with them and not burning will be able to conserve to some extent. When liquidity is market, see what happens in liquidity is not that you have irrational money to give. When liquidity hits, you start seeing people pressure and there's a risk that they're not getting money from anywhere. So they start going bad on their current loans. In consumer lending, you're borrowing from someone, you're paying some other loan, you're again borrowing from someone, and then the cycle fights. So you have to be on that curve to make sure that you can sustain that. Risk premium has to be better. There is no money coming in the market. Cost of capital is up. So there's a phase. Next 6 to 8 months will be tough, right? Then I think another 2 years you'll again see some trends coming in because it's like credit cards. If you give lousy customers credit cards, in 3 years they go bad. So that impact will happen. That's the industry perspective, and we're seeing that there are 800 of them. I'm hoping that 800 number will again come down to 70, 80 with consolidation, etc. taking place. We saw that 8-9 months ago where Series B stocked of most players. Right? So the people who didn't go from A to B didn't happen. Okay, right. So now that's first part. Now some of us will raise more money, but there's a need to grow. Whoever is more capital efficient, it will become an ROE game currently. From the tech valuation, it will move to an ROE game temporarily. So you have to be focused on ROE, ROAs, and that's what we are going to be focused at. So if you ask me, what's my key focus for 18 months? 6 month focus, become profitable. 18-month focus to have a 1,000 crore balance sheet. Right? Both have to come in together. Because if you're not systematically sizable, right, you have to be sizable to stay afloat. Right? And I think 1,000 crores is a safe number. My balance sheet is so large that I have a monthly revenue income possibility of let's say 40-50 crores. So you're stable, right? You can burn, you can do multiple things. You at least have income possible that you don't know what's your cost of capital at that stage, right? The cost of borrowing. But if you have that much, you're stable. And we want to achieve the next 18 months. But the first part is you can only do that if you attain profit. Right? With us, we are rated BBB in our NBFC. We have to borrow at 14-15%. If we get rated better because we are profitable, maybe 1% lower comes up. That 1% is great to add to your bottom line. Right? Suddenly you can start deploying that money to grow further. So if we can grow, let's say, going from now to profitability is only reducing burn by $100,000. But from profitability to earn $1 million additional income is another 6 months away only. Which means when a business starts generating $1 million income per month, right? You could actually, it can help you to leverage 3 times more. Means 4 million balance sheet can be built every month more. Top line can grow by 4 million each month, which makes it very sustainable. That's what we are focusing on.
Great. I think all the entrepreneurs and the fintech folks in the audience must not only have got the experience of Akshay, but also his crystal ball gaze of what is going to happen in the future. So that's fantastic. Congratulations on your success. All the best for the future journey. And with that, I open the audience for questions. Yeah, Amit. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, sure, no problem. First of all, congratulations. That is a very impressive journey. I think I've heard about it, but this was a great opportunity to listen to the entire story. Okay. Switch hello. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So, 2 quick questions. One is you mentioned that you had to come back to Pune and you had to recruit talent from all over. First of all, that's great. I think if we can get these kind of companies out to Pune. But other than your earlier background in Pune, why did you pick Pune? You could have gone to any other city. And I'll just ask the second question. It's completely unrelated, so you can take in whatever order. You mentioned the BBB rating. So, any plans to get into any allied business, payment banks or anything to reduce that significantly? Because I think, as you mentioned, that is going to be one of your big handicaps compared to some of the larger banks going forward. Thanks.
So I'll answer the second one first. I don't like any distractions. And we are good in something, let's become the best at it. Let's not try to do any more things. Right? Because if we do not hit our target numbers where they at least are large enough, right, you're not relevant anyways. For example, Paytm wants to do everything. And if you're seeing they're not growing, their own core business, PhonePe has come and whacked them out. Right? That's the risk. You don't want to do that. We are good in catering to young consumers needing money. We are the best at it. We want to become the largest at it, period. Nothing else I want to do. That's part one. Part two, why Pune? So when Ashish and me had met on that first day, where to look at it, interestingly at the end of the discussion we ended up on the rooftop of the house. Right? And we could see these bright neon lights of 15 global banks development centers. You could see MasterCard, Barclays, Citibank, HSBC, all of them, these nice neon lights of them, and say, yeah, why do we need to go somewhere else when we're disrupting banking? The only hindsight we didn't realize was that a good tech guy in bank 3 years back had not built anything new, building archaic tech. So today all the banks decided to invent mobile, invent machine learning. Now you're getting great talent. Now you can go to a bank, tell the recruiter, put a list there, roll bata, I'll cherry pick the guys I want. But 3 years back, there was nothing like that available. The biggest trick that we did was our recruiter was based out of India. When that lady called up from a foreign number, every single tech guy answered the call. कोई तो global company बात कर रही है. Right? Okay. And that trick really paid off well.
Yes. Hi, Shailendra Bharati here. You mentioned about 40 to about 50 people being paid, something like that. We have a clear ESOP strategy that we will do this. Something like that.
ESOP was put in the first day. ESOP policy publicly displayed. Anyone has a confusion, can come and talk to Ashish, as the CFO also, to understand. People have to know what they get. I'll give an example. I was just signing this year a credit letter, and I didn't realize that we actually gave ESOPs to some of the executives, call center executives. So I was like, that's nice. No, they've actually worked with us for 3 years. They need to get it. So just imagine that everyone gets it, and people fight for it. We've actually had people who said, I don't want additional VP. I perform 200%. Can you give me 2 times ESOP? People have to realize the value of it. Of course, that can only be shown when you keep raising more money and this valuation increase. The 10 rupee share is above 30,000. So people say, great. Right? But the problem in classical, there are no exits easily possible in startups. Right? So there are very few people who buy these shares. Right? But people understand the great returns of it. And see, it's also the type of people that you attract. If people start understanding the value of ESOP, I'll give an example. My marketing manager, I cannot pay him his mark. What a large FMCG company or a branding company in Bombay will pay. But they can't hire him because of the ESOP. Because they can't pay that. It's a futuristic value, but he's working for that. That adds up.
How did you attract? How did you attract first few guys? You said 9 people. Could be
it's very tough. It's very tough. I'll give a good example. The Vivek, our tech head. I met him. So in that first day in Pune, I had a dinner party in a friend's house who was trying to start a startup, and he was trying to hire me. The guy doesn't talk to me still now. And his startup actually never succeeded because he couldn't attract this best-in-class talent. But Vivek actually met me in the evening We had a good discussion. He was supposed to fly back to Chennai. While going to the airport, he stopped in the morning just to see what we spoke was genuine or not. He did not take the flight, did not ever go back. He actually went back to Chennai after 14 days to bring his family here. But it's how you are. See, a founder has to be the best recruiter personally. Right? The last 1 year, I only have 2 jobs. Right? Go sell or hire. Every day I have to interview 2 people. Most of the time, I'm not interviewing them. I'm trying to convince them, please come and work with me.
That's also an investment, actually.
That is the biggest thing that you will do every day. So there was a gentleman today I interviewed who was getting interviewed for some other role. After I heard his profile, I convinced him he should not go meet the business for that part and go to Bangalore tomorrow and meet the lady who has another vertical for us. Can you work with her? This guy came and shouted, "Ye kya ho raha hai? I found a guy, he मुश्किल से मिलते हैं." I said he fits there better. And after he spoke to me, he wants to do that. Right? See, people have to want to work with you and want to do something that they believe they can. The minute you solve that, you'll hire everyone. Right? And never hire a person who wants more money. Decline the offer that day. Hire the person who will come and say, "I don't want money, I don't want an offer letter, I'm going to more money." Okay? That good salesman you have to be of your own company.
Okay, so it's a two-part question. One is because you said the customer focus is pretty high, you've learned it from your corporate career. So, if you have, let's say, I'm just giving a number, let's say an average loan size for your typical 26-year-old client is like 15,000 or something. Have you sort of analyzed what is that 15,000 that is it on the discretionary side or does he want to need? And if you want to rather scale it up, would you look at giving more loan to the same person or finding more people like him?
I'll articulate the question first a little better. Okay. So we attract a young guy. Do we know what he does with the money? Do we know does he have the ability to borrow more? Do we want to attract similar people like that? Or do we want to give more money to this person? Yes. So let's answer the first part by current trending. An average customer earns 40,000 rupees who comes to us. 25% of them have no bureau presence, so that means they can't go and borrow anywhere else. We are able to judge that we can give him the loan is the trick. Right? 50% of them are too young to like a bank to borrow. It's liking a bank. I'm sure you have a bank. You know the registry manager's name. Do you think you can go to your bank, meet someone in less than 5 minutes? Absolutely. Right? If I fail to give you money in 10 minutes, no, there's a Facebook complaint, this company is useless. Right? That's the speed to work with to cater this young guy. Right? Remember, he's understanding of banking is nil. Right? We are still trying to teach him that by being frugal, not give him too much money so he can pay us back on time. You have to be sharp to know his ability to pay and willingness to pay both in the 10 seconds every decision. At the same time, we are able to retain 90% of our customers. We are able to get those 90% people to take 10 loans from us. Migrate 87% of those 90% people to a long-term loan. Right? 90% of my 150 crore that I will do this month is given to an existing customer. Right? And from that, 60% people are borrowing 5 times more amount than what they started off at. So what we have been doing is building the ability to judge whether you have the willingness to pay, ability to pay, and when to give you more. There are few people who are not financially savvy enough to give more money. They are good to take small amount. How to find those to give that much? How to find the next guy to give more? And to keep building use cases. That is what is the intelligence that we build at the bank. Lending is the byproduct of understanding consumer. Understanding consumer is not meeting him. It's about knowing his spending habits, trending habits, looking at his profile data, looking at people around him who are similar to him and his friends and connections. We don't judge you, we judge all your friends and how they apply and they borrow. And that's what makes us different from a bank. And that's why you have that's the cutting edge work. Right? Of course, a classical lending business, nothing new. You can go to a pawn shop, he also gives you money. Right? But he's okay to lose 10%. Right? The question you asked us, some of the global players operate at 10% monthly delinquency. Right? I am shouting at 0.7, can you make it 0.6? Right? So that's the advantage. And when they come to the market to operate, they have to fight players like us which have such strong systems. Right? And that's how you build a world-class company.
About not deviating from your main business model or business, where do you see yourself like year to year? What else where are you going to grow beyond?
So I'll answer it slightly differently. So, see, we have to find adjacencies to grow in our core business. So today we lend to this young IT guy. We have also started lending to blue and grey collar. Right. So when I was giving an example that when the Up-South chain's waiter can borrow cheaper than what you borrow on a credit card, because we are able to do that product. Imagine a waiter you borrow a credit card at close to 5% because of the GST and interest rates. Right? He borrows at 2%. Right? We are able to do that today. We are going bottom of the pyramid also. At the same time on top, we are now doing 1-year personal loans also. So the 30-day loan has become a one. So we're going on both the sides. We're giving more to people. We're also going down the pyramid to attract next segment of people. Right? So, and that's how you focus that. But we're not stepping out of this. Right? This is the space that we want to operate. Anyone young, we want to give him a loan. Right? Can we find more use cases for him? Like we saw him liking travel. Right? Most young people on a Friday evening decide to go to a holiday location on a Saturday evening. Right? Which means they will be impractical in buying air tickets. Right? We said, why don't you talk to Make My Trip and give him a zero-cost EMI to book an air ticket? So we have a travel offering now for our customers. We show our customers having high ability for shopping. You can do a no-cost EMI shopping at Flipkart, Amazon, as well as Big Bazaar. Right? So you find the use case, we solve that use case. Right? And that's our job coming. We saw our consumers wanting for skill upgradation. They love to go and get a part course done, let's say on Python or something else. It's a 60,000 rupee course. He earns for 40,000 rupees, he can't pay. But it comes at EMI. Right? We are now getting the employer to pay his interest. तेरा skill बढ़ता है ना, interest तो pay कर दे, उसका principal वो कर देगा. Right? So you find adjacency in your own model to see how the model will scale. But you remain pristine to the customer. You can't come and say, let's go to a 35-year-old who works with a bank and let's try to give him a loan. Not our customer. Right? If you are focused on your consumer profile, there are enough coming in. And that should answer the question.
So, do you have plans to go global? And would you consider applying for Y Combinator?
So, no, I don't think we have any plans to get distracted or doing anything else. We're doing this, we're happy. It's a large market. India is the fastest growing economy in lending and I'm not stepping out of it. The other one is China, they're highly competitive and you don't expect Chinese to go into any business. Going to our greener territories, why distract? अच्छा चल रहा है, क्यों पैसा बंद करूँ यहाँ जाके market खोल दूँगा? So that's the first part. Don't get distracted. Everything looks exciting. Second is, would you go to an accelerator? That's the question. So when we started, there was no concept of accelerator. Right? So all the accelerators I met at that time were asking for 7% equity for place to sit. Just said 7%. Our plan was never to hire people. We always wanted to do automation. Right? We all face the biggest problem in startup is what? It is less number of people to interact with. Right? You will realize once you start your company after 2-3 years, the old friends are too freaking boring. They are stuck in their office shittiness. Right? And you struggle to find like-minded people to talk to. Right? That's your biggest struggle. Right? Especially when you're not. If the startup is going through the phase of यार grow नहीं हो रहा, आगे क्या करने सोच रहे, बहुत struggle होता है किससे बात करें. I think that's the biggest struggle that you will face, and it happens more when you're younger. When you cross the 35 band, when you have less friends. The good part in corporate life you learn कि once you enter the cabin culture, you have very less friends to talk to. Lunch खाने को नहीं मिलता है. So that's the journey. You'll all go through it. If you're considering a Y Combinator, work out how he works now. Why give equity? 6,000 रुपए की सीट होती है बस. कॉफी फ्री मिलती है उसमें. इतना टेंशन की बात नहीं है. इक्विटी तब देना जब पार्टनर का पैसा आपको कुछ फायदा देता है. Especially, can he give you connections? Can he give you something more than money? That's the key, right? Like, I mean, my seat can still help me out. I wanted a PPR license or something. I went to him, sir, आपके पास एक वहाँ रखा हुआ है, दोगे क्या? Right? I go to HR and say, can you give me introduction to a bank, this particular bank? One of your members is a board member there. Appointment तो मिलेगा CEOs वहाँ पे. Right? पैसा तो बहुत लोग देते हैं. जगह के लिए पैसा तो नहीं ले सकता है. अच्छी सीट 6,000 रुपए की आती है, आदमी 25,000 रुपए का. चूज कर ले किसके ऊपर देते. आदमी is more important or seat is more important. And Starbucks will allow you to work for 8 hours every day without charging. Use that. और अगर जगह कम है तो मेरे कैफेटेरिया में काम कर सकता 2 घंटा. Every startup founder will allow you to use his cafeteria for free till 1 o'clock and after 3 o'clock. And use their advice, and I did it also.
Good evening, sir. मेरे आपसे 2 क्वेश्चन है. एक, आपका जैसा आपने 15 इयर्स का कॉर्पोरेट एक्सपीरियंस था आपके पास, तो वो कॉन्टैक्ट्स और कनेक्शंस आपको हेल्प किए कनेक्ट करने के लिए, ग्रो करने के लिए, टू रीच द राइट पीपल. नाउ फ्रॉम समवन हु जिसका कोई एक्सपीरियंस ही ना हो, जो बीच में से नहीं पॉपअप हो गया है कि इसको स्टार्ट करना, he sees that thing coming and he has a guidance from the corporate thing. How to get the context? First question. Second thing, when you're starting up, trying to implement the automation part into the company, but you are not able to pay that much for the automation thing and everything. How to survive and how to get that right talent? मैं मान लो freelancers से जॉब करवा लूँ या कहीं और से थोड़ा बहुत bits and pieces में कहाँ से डेवलपमेंट करवा लूँ, but how to survive that phase, at least to develop that particular product. Thank you.
So first, I'm not knighted by the Queen, so I'm not sir. Second, I think I'll say start. Okay, see, separate your mind from being a startup and entrepreneur to being a person who has to solve a problem. The day you do that, now you will find how to solve it. मेरे को तो lending नहीं पता था life में. I've never given a loan in my life. Right? The only thing I knew about was when I became a senior in a corporate life, they converted my account to a priority account, then to a signature account and something. Right? I knew nothing else in banking. Right? But I had to go learn everything. Right? To now go to some events and talk about how banking is innovating. Talk to bankers about it. So सीखना तो पड़ेगा. Right? और कनेक्शन मिल जाते हैं. There is no one who is away from 2 connections from you. The world is too small. Actually, one में मिल जाता है. And I've seen, if you don't have a problem, post it on Facebook or LinkedIn. I want this. Someone comes to help, and you just mentor him a startup founder or something. So 20 other people come to help. Ask. Like when I was the first time entrepreneur, Ashish, both of us were. We actually, someone told us, come meet TiE. They help you become an entrepreneur. When we came, I think we were the reverse one. We kept saying, ये mentor अच्छा नहीं, वो mentor अच्छा नहीं, ये चीज़, वो नहीं चाहिए. जैसे हमें कुछ और चाहिए. Finally, then हमें क्या चाहिए था? बहुत simple था. We wanted some guy to listen to us once a month, so we don't fight. Actually, we realized that we were so grossed in business, we couldn't open up. Right? And the mentor actually just listened to us and said, yeah, think more. Come back again and think more. That's it. Right? And that's the entire part. You will find solutions if you want to find solutions. If you want to become a startup and an entrepreneur, do nothing. Have that mindset. नहीं है ना connection, मिलेगा. इतना कोई मुश्किल नहीं है. You don't have to go meet the president to solve a problem. You're not going to the moon. You're not inventing Tesla that easily. Right? If the problem is defined, you will find the solution. Be patient and ask people. Oh, have you seen that? I think Tata Sky पूछने लगे जाता है. पूछना. maximum क्या होगा? Maximum what will happen?
Basically,
Some guy who earns 30,000 rupees in a boring job will laugh at you. You will laugh at him after 5 years, he's still going to earn 35,000 rupees only. So don't worry. See, the faster you realize that people laughing are laughing for their satisfaction. Right? And you'll be surprised people come to him. You have to ask the right man. Bas.
So you mentioned that after your synopsis MBA, you went to ISB and INSEAD. So what courses did you do over there, and what were the key learnings that you learned from there that is actually helping you in your current work?
So INSEAD was nothing. INSEAD was more to do with the global marketing program. It was meant for the top global marketing heads. They invited me to attend a very expensive program which my employer agreed to pay, so I was very happy. It was also very boring, very long. But I wanted to do the course at ISB for a specific purpose. They had a specialization program on negotiations. I think it was the most wonderful experience. I was the only salaried person in the entire batch. Some businessmen, right? Half of them were doing business outside India. They said, "हम negotiation करना है, मुझे थोड़ा हो जाता है." We start sweating. Right? It really paid off well in my corporate life. I used to buy media, I used to do deals, interact, this, all the things. I would say I was flat-faced while doing it. It taught me how to be blank. The guy can't perceive what you're doing. You get great deals. Right? But today it really pays off well. You negotiate a term sheet, guys. It's tough. You do it patiently. Tension कुछ नहीं है उसमें. Right? I think the ISB program was beautiful on that front. It was the only one who had such a course. It was extremely expensive. It was the best money ever spent.
Hi, everybody. And my question is basically based upon three things that you mentioned during the whole interview. I'll quickly revise those three so that you get the background. You said your 18 months target is 1,000 crore balance sheet. Then you said you had previously acquired a company just to keep the guy with you, and you shut down the business the day you acquired it. And the third is you said there are many good and bad both fintech companies in Pune already. So based on these three observations, can we expect any more acquisitions or mergers with the existing players from early side?
And that's the third one. It's not about Pune, it's across the world. Okay. So I'll give an example. When you do actively hire or you acquire for talent, it's really about founder's mindset, right? See, the great part about a founder is very different. There is mentality to solve a problem, right? I'll give you a Vikas's example. He's so mature. He has a Wharton degree. He's got 15 years of experience. He's built 3 other internet businesses, right? Great pedigree. He joined to head business development for a vertical which had 1 employee. Was doing 100 loans a month, and said, "I will turn it around. Give me 6 months. I'll build it." Right? So no one ever went and said, "Kaise karega?" Right? He will come every 2 weeks. I've done this. This is how I've done it. This is the thing. He'll update you like a founder. He state a business ka. And he will not talk as an employee. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. That's the difference of hiring a person and getting another founder on the table. Right? It's very difficult to keep adding founders. Right? And you have to give them that much space also to build. Right? That's one part. The second part is, are we open to acquire more companies, etc.? I think we did one more actually. Right? This time the company was shutting down, decided to shut down. We picked up people from there because they were sharp. There was a lady who wanted to, is leading one of our verticals. She's actually first time allowed a rural company that you can outside office work. Till date, we do not allow a single piece of code written outside the premise. IP is ours. Right? It's a very tough call in a startup to say that. It means work from home doesn't exist. Right? But only this lady can work out of Bangalore. Right? But you have to take exceptions if you want great people to work. The other part is if people are enthusiastic about being in the category, fintech by design is complex, and you have to say, I want to be in it. Right? The job is, there's no job come anytime. I at least have 4 people who have moved back from the US in my office today who are still interning for 6 months. Right? And 2 of them have 4 years of experience after working in the US doing some machine learning project today, who haven't figured out they want to come back to India or not. They quit their jobs there, they're struggling to say, should I come back to India or not? But they're interning in our office to see can they settle in back to India. Right? I can't afford them. With their Google background, they're not affordable by me. Right? आना तो Indian salary पे आना पड़ेगा. Correct? But they are like, हमें fintech करना है. We can look at Pune. Okay, we'll come and just work here. They're right now interning for free. They're doing a complex problem. Right? I think we'll be bad if we couldn't convert them. But 4 महीने से तो अभी तक है ना, आए तो 1 महीने के लिए थे, right? So that's the part that there's an opportunity if you want to be in fintech, you have to be willing to participate.
You said you received a crash course in Bajaj Alliance which made you eligible to move to the Chief Marketing Officer post. Can you share a couple of tips what you have knowledge you gained for in this crash course? Second thing, you are also very much impressed with the negotiation skills that you learned in ISB Hyderabad. So a couple of pointers what you learned as part of the negotiation skills.
So 8 lakh रुपए का course एक में that's negotiation. So I'll answer the first one actually. The second one is too complex. The rule of negotiation is actually simple. Whatever the guy quotes, you can always quote half. The deal will still close somewhere in between. It depends how you bring it, how half you start off. The first part is, see, the willingness to learn has to come in early. Right? I think in the management training program, I learned one part. There were few people who were willing to learn from day one. Right? And for example, the CEO had a bad habit of sending a mail at 2 o'clock at night. I still have to reply to the mail at 2 o'clock at night. Right? I was willing to reply at 2 o'clock at night. That's it. Right? So there is an opportunity. Can you grasp it faster to be noticed and do that work in that time? Right? And I'll give an example. One of our product managers, I think, I'll be disappointed in 5 years if he doesn't start his own company and become a CEO. Right? The guy is brilliant. He went to US, came back, took a stint in Amazon in the US, etc. and came back also. The guy is so detailed. Right? जब उसका वो प्रोडक्ट नोट आता है ना, नोट आता है पूरा 10 पेज का नोट आएगा ना, सिंपल प्रोडक्ट फीचर, आप गलती नहीं ढूंढ पाओगे. Right? We have to struggle to say क्या करेक्ट करना है. Right? And he will not finish until you sit with him for 1 hour and find the mistake out, because he wants to make sure when it gives it to tech, गलती नहीं होनी चाहिए. Right? That is something that you have to inculcate in yourself. It's the personality question. It's not I got the opportunity. I took the opportunity to execute it at that time. We all get those chances. Right? Are we willing to work that hard for it? It's an EQ question, not an IQ question. Right? IQ is very subjective. EQ you have to earn.
On behalf of TiE Pune and all the audience, you had great learnings, lot of learnings. But one thing, one key takeaway, which at least I am taking from here, from you, is in entrepreneurship journey, I think speed is the only name of the game. The rest is all a pass. That's how I would look at it. And that's what we saw in multiple cases. I think he explained that very clearly, that how fast, what is the speed, and how, what is the biggest target which I need to achieve in smallest period, right? Whether in terms of numbers, customers, product, 100 things which you talked about, and that's the biggest learning for us. On behalf of TiE Pune and the entire audience, thank you very much. Thanks for spending time and sharing your journey. Look forward to a lot more such events and great success for the company. Thank you. Thank you.